Okay. Take two on this, I suppose. Hello, I'm Indoor Wanderer. I am streaming for the first time, I suppose, here. Technically the second, since my first time didn't go so well. Just trying to figure this thing out. So yeah, I am going to be streaming Marvel Ultimate Alliance, hopefully to completion. Not right now, but you know, over the course of you know, several weeks possibly. But I'm a big fan of this game. I played it pretty religiously, I suppose, as a child. Not as a child, but when I was younger. But it's really fun. I loved X-Men Legends 1 and 2, which is what this is, like the successor for those games. And it's so much fun. I really wish Marvel would remaster X-Men Legends 1 and 2, especially 2. I loved X-Men Legends 2. But anyway, so yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy this. This is going to be my playthrough. I don't even know anymore. I've played this game so many times that I have no idea what I'm doing or what this how many times I've played it at this point. But yeah. Yeah, just another playthrough. I don't skip cutscenes and I don't skip dialogue, so just gonna forewarn you. But I will probably be doing commentary or just talking stream of conscious, I suppose, while I'm playing through this. And hopefully, if I like it and other people like it, I'll keep streaming other things. I have a wide ranging video game library, so there's always something I suppose I could stream. But yeah, I'll just try this out and see how it goes. Yeah, and there is like a hub area in this game where like there's a lot of conversations and stuff goes on. I will not stream that because I don't think anyone wants to watch me run around and talk to people as much as I enjoy learning, because I mean this is actually how I learned so much about comic books and Marvel Universe and stuff like that is playing this game and X-Men Legends 1 and 2. And I don't, like, as I said, I didn't skip any like conversations or anything like that, so as you can see that could be I don't know, it takes a lot of time. Oh, I am so sorry. What am I doing? Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Begin story. Yes, and I will also be using my saved game data from my previous games because I'm actually trying to replay this game on hard difficulty. I'm not going to do that now because I don't want to end up having a stroke or an aneurysm or something and end up on one of those YouTube compilations of people who just get furious. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So I'm actually going to be just importing my previous sort of saved game statistics, as you see, and I'm going to be just playing like with those like characters who've already leveled up and stuff like that, because it will help whenever I play it on a harder difficulty to get a trophy, obviously. So yeah, I'll have like, you know, level 50, 60 something guys, you know, and that's actually kind of a recommended level to play it on hard mode. But anyway, I digress. Onward. I will try to refrain from quoting this because I've played this so much. I could quote this like the back of my hand. Ah yes, my favorite Marvel villain.
Not on my watch.
He's actually voiced by Clive Revill, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is better known as the voice of the Emperor in The Empire Strikes Back, before George Lucas went back and butchered them, but I digress. I do love this team, by the way. I think it's a nice kind of even team. You have your mutant, you have your superhero, super-powered character, you have your vigilante, and you have your cosmic sort of god character. I think that's a nice diverse representation of the Marvel Universe. Also, some of these characters are based on their Ultimates comics appearance, like Thor right here, which were a comic book series that sort of started in 2000s, very kind of modern, a lot of political and social commentary. I actually own like over 100 volumes of it. Yeah, that's probably sad, but. This remaster wasn't that bad to me. I'm pretty sure there are finer points that other people could look at and complain about, but I liked it. The graphics are amazing in these cutscenes.
Could use some help.
Of course, now we have video games that look like this naturally. If only they would make a sequel or a third Marvel Ultimate Alliance. With this kind of graphics. I am well aware that they are making a third Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but Nintendo Switch is not a viable console to play it on, if you ask me. Marvel, you need to get your stuff together.
What are you girls looking at?
Good old Wolverine. Yeah, this is my sort of team I made. I call it, I guess, the Ultimate Alliance, I suppose. And I like it. I will probably be using like teams with special sort of bonuses for most of the missions, and also the results of kind of interesting dialogue options as well. So,
Be careful out there.
looking forward to it. That's Moon Knight. He is kind of like a wannabe Batman villain or superhero.
Gentlemen, this is Colonel Nick Fury. I'm on the main bridge, but I'm not sure how long I'll last. Get here ASAP. Fury out.
Ah yes, Ultron's goons. I'm also a little bit of a completionist as well, so I do like to acquire a lot of currency and collectibles. However, I have collected most of the collectibles in this game, so I don't really have to worry about that too much.
That's gonna be
Okay, so either this helicarrier is so far up that you can't really see anything besides lights and streets and stuff down there, or either this is an incredibly rural area with no skyscrapers. Oh.
sorry about that.
Oh, there it is. Let's say I played this game so many times, there should be a door somewhere. Or I could have jumped out the window, I guess. This is seriously making me want to go back and either just buy a PlayStation 2 or what have you and play X-Men Legends 1 and 2 again. Always was a big X-Men fan, still am. Back in my day, there was only two big Marvel superheroes, and that was Spider-Man and the X-Men. The Avengers no one cared about. In fact, they were actually, Marvel did not have much faith in the Avengers. Whenever they made the Ultimates line, that line was popularized because of the Marvel's Ultimates, which was essentially the Avengers. But Marvel explicitly told the writer Mark Millar to not use the title Avengers because they thought that the books wouldn't sell if he actually used that title. Interesting bit of trivia. And now, look at him.
Someone being a hero. Looks like I hit the jackpot.
Ah, Scorpion.
I'm working for the biggest group of villains this world has ever known. The Masters of Evil! That's the best part of all. We're led by the man himself, Dr. Doom.
I mean, if you had to be led by someone, he's the guy.
If you only knew. 'Cause Doom's got a plan that's gonna shake the heavens. You wanna get tough, punk? Good. 'Cause so do I.
I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be what Matt Gargan, I think, Scorpion, and he actually became Venom in the comics, which is kind of interesting. This game also has kind of interesting features where you can actually pick up other items, but you can have a big giant pipe. When you get to Asgard, it gets even sort of stranger, if not outright just looks so cool with Captain America running around with his shield and a sword, like a Viking sword. It's kind of fun. Sadly, you can't hold on to this forever. I think it eventually loses durability, I suppose, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I decided to go back and replay this because, well, Captain Marvel's coming out soon, so I wanted to build up a little bit of hype for it. So, thought why not?
Thanks for responding to my SOS so quickly. The helicarrier's under attack by a group of supervillains called the Masters of Evil. And to make matters worse, they're led by Victor Von Doom. My thoughts exactly. It's not important. I told you, it's not important.
Ah, yes, Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. always being excessively secretive and very, very cautious about what they say or do. Probably because there is actually something important going on here.
Colonel Fury, this is the Black Widow. The Masters of Evil have activated the launch cycle of our nuclear missiles. I need help.
Oh, that's
if
not
they
good.
are to be stopped.
Help is on its way, Black Widow. Fury out, team. Just one of those missiles could level an entire city. Failure is not an option. You have to get to the launch bay and stop them. Cap, it's good to see you.
We got here as quickly as possible, sir.
It started when radar detected distant ghost images, but they disappeared, so we figured it was just an atmospheric disturbance. They knew. When they hit us, it was a complete surprise. They took out our main weapon batteries and our fighter bays in a matter of seconds. They've thwarted every attempt we made to counterattack. They're a group of supervillains, led by Dr. Victor Von Doom. There's been sightings of dozens of major criminals. Ultron, Baron Mordo, just to name a couple. I'd expect nothing less from an organization headed by Doom.
I don't know if that's good or bad whenever even Nick Fury is like, yeah, this guy's pretty competent at getting to get the best of the best, or perhaps the best of the worst, however you want to look at it.
The Black Widow is my second in command. She goes where I go.
But that's not a problem. She's a former Soviet spy, yeah, because the Soviet Union is still on everyone's minds today. That's the interesting thing about Marvel is that, you know, it really took off in the 60s, so it's dealing with a lot of like Cold War and post-World War II stuff, so it's kind of silly, but I don't know. It's Marvel. It's a comic book sort of universe. You just got to get over it.
We were hit pretty hard in the initial attack. We took out our forward batteries and damaged half our fighter bays. Yes. To make matters worse, they've destroyed 2 of our primary engines. We're near the limit. If they damage any additional systems, we're gonna make a real big crater when we hit the ground. Carry on.
I could change my team right here, but I don't think I'm going to. There's no need for that right now. I will, obviously, before the next mission. Alright, and here's your incredibly rudimentary yet insanely easy puzzle. I don't even know if it's even a puzzle, it's just move something. I understand this is the tutorial mission, but come on. Something a little bit more challenging than just move a power regulator or generator or something. Come on now.
Everyone all right?
Yeah, as I think I may have mentioned this before, the voice acting in this game is fantastic. I'm not a fan of the voice acting in the second game, but the second game is a little bit of a letdown. It's not a bad game, but it's probably one of the more like stricter adaptations of Marvel's Civil War storyline. Very much, if you've seen Captain America: Civil War, you pretty much know what happens. Very, as I said, very loyal, but at the same time, it has one of the most cliche or just kind of predictable, overused like twists. Like the main villain is probably one of the most simplest yet just absurdist kind of, I would say, digressions in the game. Oh, I forgot, yeah. Play as Spider-Man.
Everyone all right?
Never was a big fan of like these games just in general, just like this sort of 4-team kind of overhead kind of, you know, games. I've never really seen any of the others really, any other games like this. But then again, I probably wouldn't have been that big of a fan of them. And that's one of the things that was kind of weird about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. It uses this same kind of setup, but it's just kind of just, I don't know. Just doesn't work well with like updated graphics, to be completely honest. And some of them, as you saw there, actually have some attributes that can weaken you. This is silly. He uses a ladder. Ooh. Oh. Unlocked a costume. That will probably happen a lot in this playthrough. I really want to unlock Magneto's costume. When I played this on PlayStation 2 and on PlayStation 3, and apparently Xbox got the sort of sweeter deal in that, and they got some DLC that lets you play as Cyclops, or not let you play, well, yeah, they add them to the team basically. Cyclops, Colossus, Hulk, Hawkeye, Magneto, which that's like take my money at that point. Doctor Doom, Venom, and Sabretooth. So they added more characters to play as, which is kind of fun. And Magneto's ultimate costume is one of my favorite costumes, and hopefully I will unlock that. But I hear it takes a long time. I think you got 250 something kills. I think. Yeah, I probably should have went ahead and put him in my team.
Next time, I want to fight somebody who doesn't.
Yes, destroy the nuclear missile consoles, because that's how you actually stop a nuclear missile, right? Ow.
You're lucky.
I almost tried to activate it. Oh wow, some superheroes we are, right?
I've just been informed that one of the nuclear missiles launched. I thought I told you to destroy both consoles.
So wait a minute, hold on. You were informed? So the big giant nuclear missile launching guy off a floating aircraft carrier, you know, you have to be told that? You know, forget alarms undoubtedly blaring and the fact that this big giant missile just launched from this, you know, this sort of area. You know, forget all that. You had to be informed of that. I'm not like picking at this game. I just think it's kind of funny. The word choice is kind of funny. Pretty sure there would have been alarms blaring, and the people on the ground would undoubtedly know that there's a nuclear missile being launched. And they wouldn't even know anything that's going on up here. Bullseye. Another D-list or C-list supervillain.
Bunch of heroes.
Sadly, we won't be able to see him in any of the Marvel Netflix shows. Thanks, Netflix.
You wouldn't be trying to stop the nuclear missile I just launched, would you?
I actually like Daredevil Season 3. It's pretty good.
Hey, if the boss wants me to launch
Season 2
a
was kinda
missile at a
uneven.
heavily populated city, I do it.
I loved Season
I
1.
don't get paid to ask questions. Sorry, I can't. And even if I did step aside,
Due
there's
to like
nothing
the
you can do. I've
unique
got the
conversations,
only
I was kind of
access
interested to see
card
what would happen if I put
navigation
Daredevil or
computer.
Elektra in my team. I don't know if they thought that far ahead of the game or not.
I choose or else.
I want to say you find him again, but I may be thinking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, where he returned as a kind of a throwaway boss battle. There we go. Some of them drop equipment, but since I've already played through this game and I'm using the same data, I don't, you know, I actually have their equipment in my inventory. Yeah, because that's how a nuclear missile explodes, right?
Well done. Missile harmlessly self-destructed. You've averted a nuclear disaster.
Harmlessly. I somehow doubt that that debris and that nuclear material falling to the ground, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not necessarily harmless. But, as I said, I'm not going to hold that against it.
Bullseye was there. Doom must really be serious about
I could really be
brutality.
finicky and pick stuff apart like that, but it's a video game and it's a comic book world. It's entertainment. Just unplug your brain and watch it.
Colonel Fury,
That's
the Masters of
something that a
Evil
lot of
are
people don't
attacking our
understand.
stabilizing engines. There's too many for me to stop alone.
Black Widow, do not engage the enemy. I want you out of there immediately. Team, double time it and save that engine.
Got it. Play as Wolverine this time. There's Luke Cage.
That was my fault, I'm afraid. Fortunately, I was not harmed.
Black Widow, I specifically ordered you not to engage the enemy.
I am sorry, sir. It was unavoidable.
Very well. At least you're safe. Team, you have to stop the enemy from destroying the engine. If they're successful, the helicarrier is finished.
This is actually a kind of interesting subplot that sort of stretches through the game. This is Black Widow's laptop, and she dropped it in this sort of skirmish here. And it was the heroes kind of believe that there's something, you know, kind of strange going on here. How she's acting, disobeying, you know, Colonel Fury and all this kind of stuff. And it turns out to be a very important sort of plot thread. I think they try to do something similar to this in X-Men Legends 2, or they've done this before. It's very interesting because it gives you actually kind of a reason to, you know, do more stuff in this game as opposed to just play straight through it. But yeah, hopefully we will discover what that is if you're interested in subsequent playthroughs. Watch this. Yeah, very, very bright individuals here. The AI in this game isn't particularly intelligent. And also what's kind of interesting is this, it's sort of like these logs I'm about to see on these SHIELD recruits,
Thanks for setting us free.
SHIELD cadets'
Being trapped
computers.
in our own rooms was kind of an embarrassing situation.
The Winter
Good luck.
Soldier.
Be careful.
This is back when he was actually a supervillain, before he turned good. But yeah, see, this is kind of interesting. This is actually one of a descendant of the Howling Commandos, Dino Manelli Jr. The Howling Commandos were the characters in Captain America: The First Avenger in the movie. They were like Cap's team. He was like in during World War II, which kind of more closely resembled, I guess, the Invaders actually, because the Howling Commandos was actually personally led by Colonel Fury during World War II. So yes, Colonel Fury actually served in World War II. Obviously, in the MCU, he's a little bit too young to have done that. And see, here's another journal entry talking about how suspicious the Black Widow is, and that she has been downloading information into her laptop, so that's not good. But yeah. I'd spend the rest of my day stationing listening outposts in ice. It's kind of funny. And then here's one that's interesting. This agent apparently witnessed Wolverine storm the helicarrier bridge and cuss out Nick Fury because he was taking actions against Tony Stark, as opposed to the Iron Man movie. Tony Stark in the comics took a little bit sort of, it took a while for him to actually get out of the weapons industry and sort of have that change of heart. Change of heart. Anyway, so then S.H.I.E.L.D. was furious at the fact that one of their main sort of weapons sort of suppliers decided to just say, nah, I ain't gonna give you any more weapons anymore. And then so they started exerting pressure on Stark Industries and Tony Stark himself, and some of that pressure was not necessarily legal, and that's sort of led to this exchange between Wolverine and Nick Fury.
Guess you didn't want a piece of me.
Ah, the Doombot. That's the staple of Doctor Doom. He has an inexhaustible army of these guys. I don't necessarily recollect many Fantastic Four comics, but I'm pretty certain that the Doombot was always like a writer's way out of killing Doctor Doom. You'll have him in a story arc and something bad will happen to him, and then all of a sudden, the Fantastic Four, oh, he's dead. They're so past as Doctor Doom, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, he's turns out it's a Doombot, and he's still out there. What I just picked up was this little sort of extreme power ability, and I only like to use those when I have a big giant group of people, or if there is a boss that I need to use. I might use it on one of the bosses later on. 2 of them to be exact, actually. There they are. The Winter Soldier and Radioactive Man.
Winter Soldier, give up. I'm here to stop you from destroying the helicarrier engines.
Captain America. Can't say it's good to see you again.
You have dealt with this fool before?
Oh, yeah. Cap and I go way back, don't we, buddy?
Winter Soldier, please. Stop this before the helicarrier is destroyed. Thousands of lives will be lost.
Sorry, no can do. I've got my orders. You of all people understand that, don't you? Orders have always been so important to you.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a reference to the comics where Bucky, I forgot what happened. I think he was lost on the same rocket that Captain America jumped on. I'm not certain, but either way, Captain America, as if you watch Captain America: The First Avenger, he did lose Bucky in the war, and a lot of that had to sort of come down to what Cap had to do in that situation. He made a tough call, and it resulted in the apparent death of Bucky Barnes. And this is Radioactive Man. I think he was actually featured in Iron Man 3. He may have had a brief cameo, and I want to say that the doctor that Tony meets in, or is introduced to in Switzerland in the beginning of Iron Man 3 was actually Radioactive Man. He obviously wasn't a supervillain in that, but he was just a regular doctor. I think at the end of the movie, he also was one of the doctors who performed the surgery to take the shrapnel out of his heart, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe wrong. If anyone knows otherwise, please correct me. Kind of a very strange reference to the character.
Stay down.
I told you they'd follow. They're as predictable as the sunrise.
Come then, heroes. Follow us a bit further.
Oh, I apologize. I interrupted you in the middle of your evil laugh. But as I was about to say about Doctor Doom a few minutes ago, he also voiced Thor. The guy who voiced Doctor Doom, Clive Revill. He also voiced Thorin Oakenshield in the Hobbit video game by Sierra Entertainment. That was one of my favorite video games as well, growing up. Wasn't anything special or fancy, but it was actually very, very fun. Very, very much aimed at kids, though.
We're up here. Now you've had it.
Yes. Let us see how you fare against this force. Attack!
A force of probably, I think it's like 5 or 6 guys. Yeah. Ooh. And interestingly enough, some of these like superhero teams don't really. Some of the bosses and enemies you fight, they're at least sort of. Some of them are like built in to counter certain superhero teams. For instance, there's two sort of areas in this game where you cannot play as the Fantastic Four. I mean, you can, but it's incredibly difficult because of the bosses that you fight are designed to either mimic or be more resilient to the Fantastic Four's powers. So I try to stay away from them, even though both of those missions could be played with the Fantastic Four and have a very interesting dialogue options and stuff like that. It's a shame that Marvel doesn't have many games like this. I would say that DC has been absolutely destroying them in that regard. The Batman Arkham games, Injustice. I mean, they even had a fully functioning MMORPG, DC Universe Online. And Marvel couldn't even... Well, they pulled off their own online game, but it wasn't necessarily an MMORPG, sadly.
Bub, you're a mess.
But Spider-Man was good. Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. I might stream that whenever I get around to it. I'm actually replaying Uncharted 4 on a higher difficulty, and I'm not streaming that because I'm gonna get to a part where I'm pretty sure I'm gonna start ranting and raving and getting angry. So I don't want that to end up on YouTube. This is an interesting kind of little like report. Shows that S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually monitoring Atlantis, which is kind of which will later play into a part in the game, specifically Namor and Namorita. Both of those characters appear in the game. Yeah.
You are too late. In a matter of moments, the Winter Soldier will have unlocked the security code for this gun. Then, we shall fire it into the engine.
Don't you understand? You can't defeat the Masters of Evil. We're just too powerful. Abandon ship while you still can.
He has a plan that will give us all enough power to live like kings for an eternity.
Quiet, Chan. You've already said too much.
Ah! It does not matter. They will not live to tell anyone.
Why don't we make sure of that?
Yeah. Typical villain speak. Yeah, that's what the those extreme powers do. Oh wow, that actually took out the Winter Soldier. That's embarrassing. Or someone did. Maybe Cat. Ow. That's a mutant. You're gonna try to play radioactive games with a mutant? I wouldn't recommend that. Radiation is one of the ways to actually cause mutation.
Well done. Wish there was time to rest, but we've got big trouble on our hands. I'm going to activate a lift nearby you. Take it, and I'll explain the situation when you arrive.
Well, yes, this is just yeah, this is a very very in-depth kind of game insofar as like the lore and stuff. I mean, it's kind of friendly, like, you know, you know the characters and you just learn more about them, which is kind of interesting. We'll switch over to Thor. Ah, there he is, Fin Fang Foom. I don't know. I think he's always crossed paths with Iron Man, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he's like one of those recycled supervillains that has faced just about every single superhero in the Marvel Universe. I think, didn't he just said, he said that I just received word. Once again, Fury, either you need to get your ears checked or something, because I'm pretty sure if that big dragon was attacking the helicarrier, you wouldn't need to be informed. You would see that thing. And whenever I face it, I'm pretty sure you will agree that he would have to have been blind to not see that. Oh, wow. Didn't expect that.
Ooh, how embarrassing.
Ah, yes.
Might of Thor, villain.
The actor who plays voices Thor in this, Cam Clark, he also voiced He-Man in He-Man: The Masters of the Universe that came out like in 2001 or 2, maybe even 3. And there's a nod to that. He actually exclaims at one point, "By the power of Asgard." That's kind of funny. Kind of like by the power of Grayskull. I am a.
By the power of Asgard.
There it is. I'm full of useless, trivial information like that. Wow. I do love how this game takes you from one corner of the Marvel Universe to another. It's just amazing. And the story just seamlessly seems to just take you there.
I have vanquished this fiend.
I don't know how I feel about Mjolnir in this take, in this movie or in this game. Now I love the Ultimate comics, so I don't have that big of a problem with it, but I can understand if some people prefer the classic stone hammer. Or Uru, I guess. It's more apt. Yeah, yeah. There's no way you'd miss that big giant thing attacking the helicarrier. He also actually has optional or unique dialogue with Magneto. Don't know why. Oh yes. These games are not necessarily known for their interesting boss battles, to say the least. Very much I think this game is kind of like an arcade kind of game. And is very fun to play, I suppose, on a sofa somewhere with a big group of people. Actually, I'm sure you could actually play with all 4 characters. That would be fun. Ah, I don't even think you can shoot those things, sadly. Ah, I should have jumped. It also doesn't let you jump out of that until after he falls, which is kind of pointless. No, no, no. I think that did a little damage, but nothing too major. Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun whenever he hits the ground.
That wasn't the most graceful battle I've ever seen, but you saved the helicarrier. Thanks, team. When you're done in that area, come back to the bridge. We're moving everyone to Stark Tower before we begin our next mission. Come back to the bridge, you'll find out.
Hopefully he did not fall and harm anyone. These are kind of briefing scenes, that you know what's going to happen. There's Iron Man.
Hello, team. Welcome to Stark Tower.
As I mentioned before, Shield and Tony don't necessarily get along, so that's kind of an interesting team up here.
We are now a team?
Yes. I've been empowered by S.H.I.E.L.D. to create a task force to stop the Masters of Evil. But the helicarrier was so badly damaged that it can't be used as a headquarters. Fortunately, Tony is willing to let us stay here for the duration. It has all the facilities we'll require.
Believe me, it's no problem at all. And I called in a few old friends to help us out. Feel free to walk around and meet them.
I'd suggest you meet Hank
I'm
Pym
still
first,
not,
since he's in
as I
charge
mentioned,
of
I'm not
equipment.
thrilled about
Vision
Marvel
is here as
Ultimate
our
Alliance 3
information
coming
officer.
out on Switch.
Great.
got a computer to talk to the computer.
There's a joke about Nintendo
When
Switch
you're
that I
ready to
could
go
make,
on a
but
mission,
I'm not
talk
going
to
to.
Wyatt
I might
Greenfield.
end up
He'll take you
tagging
there
that
on one
video
of my
on
Quinjets.
something.
Speaking of that, what is our next mission?
It's a YouTube video.
I recently
But
received a radio transmission from Dum Dum Dugan requesting that I come to the
yeah, the whole
Omega
Switch
base.
thing, I don't understand why
There was something
they
questionable
would do
in his
that
message.
and not
You
just
think
make
it
a
might be a trap?
straight up sequel.
Maybe. I can't be sure. For
Also,
more information,
I wasn't
talk to the Black Widow.
a fan of how much it resembled the MCU. I love the MCU. It's just I don't like how everything's trying to be like that. The comics do that, and I think that's incredibly frustrating. Because I don't want to see the MCU everywhere. I want to see the MCU when I go into the movie theater. I don't want to see it on a video game or in the comic books. But I digress. Well, I think I'm gonna call it quits for now. I will probably actually stream again tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably go a little bit further. I might try to knock out 2 areas tomorrow, the Omega Base mission and Atlantis. Spoilers, I suppose. But yeah, I'll probably do that tomorrow. Just trying to get used to everything and try to clock this one in under an hour, because tomorrow's stream probably will not be under an hour. But hopefully, yeah, I'll return, and this will be the beginning of many more streams to come. So yeah, thanks for tuning in.